Hello, Kansas and Western fans. It's time for update number 64 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale model railroad. And for the last 2 weeks, I was tasked with working on the Wichita Industrial Park area, and we will go look at that here in a second. But I haven't done a tour in a while, but I think I'm going to do an abbreviated tour that just gives a better overview of the layout rather than skimming along the main line the entire way. But anyway, so down here we have the Royal Gorge route that goes through south central Colorado, and the main line wraps around to Canon City, Colorado, ends here at the Portland Cement Plant where it passes through the backdrop. I've got my workbench here, and we pass around the peninsula here to Pueblo, Colorado, and the steel mill that's on the southeast side of the city there. And then the main line goes around the corner there to La Junta Yard, passes around the other end there over to Lamar, Colorado, and then around the corner here to Holly, Colorado. So the whole bottom level represents Colorado, or portions of it obviously. And then we go up a hidden helix here to Holcomb, Kansas, where there's a coal-fired power plant. And the main line follows through to Garden City, Kansas. Couple businesses located outside of that, and then a lone grain elevator down there for Charleston, and then it wraps around the corner here to the Wichita Industrial Park, which we'll return to here in a minute to talk about. And then we enter Wichita, the main Wichita yard on the north end of town. It's split into two parts, the BNSF and UP yards. This side is the BNSF. And then there's an interchange down here at the end where both yards can trade traffic. This is the highway bridge, the I-135 bridge on the north end of town that crosses over the north end of the yard. And then down there we have the UP yard wrapping around through Towanda, and then portions of El Dorado with the oil refinery on the south side of town. And then I squeezed in here in this small area along the wall the Union Tank Car Company. So that's the overview of the layout. Let's proceed back over to the Wichita Industrial Park and talk about what I managed to work on. Now, the Wichita Industrial Park on my layout is made up of 5 different industries. You've got Cargill down here. You've got Advent Mills, Clean Harbor Refining Facility, where they take used oil products and recollect those and then re-refine those so they're usable again. And then you've got all metal recycling, and then down here the Star Lumber distribution yard. Now, a week or two ago, I talked about doing Walther's glass inserts for their grain elevators, and you can see all the holes here for glass. Something about doing that video or talking about that process of painting those windows and trying to weather this elevator here just kind of turned me off of working on grain elevators. I don't know what it was, but I was kind of disappointed by the results of this. I don't like the look of that at all. I like the texture of that paint. I don't know if I can zoom in on that a little bit so you can see that. But just the look of it is not good. So it just kind of turned me off of working on the elevators. And I've got 2 of them to do. And this one needs to be repainted. I don't like the color at all of that. So it just kind of turned me off. And fortunately, with 5 different industries in one scene, I managed to zero in here on the distribution yard and just kind of focused on it like a laser. Now, I did get some track work done. As you can see here, I got some ballast work done. And if there's ballast, that means the track is weathered. I managed to get a good portion of rail weathering done. I think all the way down. Let's see, I guess this is about as far as I got for that. The spur back here and the siding and the main line done down to this turnout. You can see the ties there. So I got a good start on track weathering and ballast. I'm happy with that. But what I got focused on was doing these plastic sheets for concrete. And as you can see, I went and added expansion joints, and I just did that by measuring out to scale 8 feet. 8 feet seemed like an appropriate size for a expansion joint square, especially on an industrial scale. I just cut those with an X-Acto knife, just kind of scored them. That turned out pretty well. Didn't line up as much as I would like, but I'm not worried about that for all these different elements. I did glue in these strips here, which worked really well. I used a Gorilla gel glue, which just worked awesome. That's probably my new favorite super glue now. And then I got some of these lumber kits built. I didn't glue these panels in place yet, and I'm not sure why. I just didn't. Now the ones on the track are glued. Those aren't going to come up again. But as you saw with my video, the cars roll right over them just fine. And this is code 70 microengineering track. And the Walthers kit recommends using code 83. And code 70 worked just fine. So future reference for anybody else that wants to use this kit on their code 70 track, it worked just fine. No big deal there. I also add a little fence segment down there. Kind of temporarily put in some trees, but I wanted to isolate the main line because it travels around this curve in kind of a non-prototypical fashion. So I think I've decided I'm just going to completely isolate it from view. There's no real need to watch the train maneuver around a corner here like this on a curve. But to hide the transition between elements, I think looks a lot better. I have some leftover stuff to finish some of these lumber kits back here. I just threw them back there so I didn't lose track of them. I managed to basically finish this kit, so I got rid of the box because, as you've seen, I have a huge collection of structure kits and boxes, and getting rid of one box seems like an accomplishment. But anyway, I do plan to add some lights, some interior lights on the roof. These are still removable, so it should be easy to do that. Plus, since I want to add a lot more lumber kits, it's a lot easier to do that with the roofs off. This is not the office kit that comes with the distribution kit, and that's because I ran out of space between the main line. And this is probably shoehorned in here as it is unprototypically. There's probably not enough space, right-of-way space between the tracks and these buildings. I know I've seen some prototypical lines that are close to that, but I know that's not the norm, and so this is part of the my railroad, my rules kind of a thing where I'm going to allow it. But the building that came with it was more square. This one's a little more rectangular, and the far corner was running right up against the ballast. So I swapped this one out for the one that's down there in the BNSF yard, just because there's more space in there for that. But that's, if you guys have that kit and you wonder why that building looks different, that's why. Otherwise, I guess that's about all I worked on. I can see I did get rid of all the pink foam with just a basic coat of this ground color I've been using everywhere. Just kind of gets rid of the pink and just makes for a good starting base for future scenic materials. But I guess that's about it for work for this last 2 weeks. So it's time to get out our big drawing bowl and find out what our options are for the next 2 weeks. All right, we've got our bowl here with all our options of the different elements on the layout to work on. A little stir here, and we'll draw our 4 options out for voting. And remember, you can just click on my logo, go over to my YouTube main page, and find that poll after this video, and place your vote over the weekend. Monday, we'll do an update video on the winner of the poll and share my plan for working on that winner for the next 2 weeks. But here we go, number 1. All right, the Charleston elevator. That one hasn't seen work in quite a while. And I'll go over all these 4 after they're chosen to highlight where they're at with their construction progress. Fascia, valence, structure, and lighting. That's another one that's never won at all. And valence, that would be interesting to work on. I have an idea, but I haven't tried it yet, so we'll see if that becomes a winner and what I might do. All right, the El Dorado oil field. Coming up a bunch of ones that haven't won in a while here, or ever. And last but not least, backdrops in general. Cool. So this is interesting. These are 4 options that haven't won ever or not in a long time. So this ought to be an interesting poll. All right, starting with the Charleston elevator, let's head over there and talk about what we might be working on there. So this elevator is indicative of many that you'll find in western Kansas, or lots of Midwestern towns. As the main, they call them Kansas skyscrapers. I'm sure they call them that in other states, or Missouri skyscrapers or whatever. But it's just a pretty common thing where all the area farms could collect their crops and distribute them in a central elevator for pickup by rail. This is based on an actual prototype, and that's the photo there. This is something that I want to scratch build, kit bash, or whatever to try to make as similar to the prototype as possible. This was my first attempt. I didn't do the silos right. As you can see, there's a gap there, or maybe they built these 8 first and then came back and built these another dozen later. I'm not sure, but I want to redo the silos, and I have all the kits for that. So I think I will restart this kit. Shouldn't take too long because these kits are fairly simple to put together. I probably would start with restarting this kit. I definitely want to do the overspray on the track because that starts to change the appearance incredibly. Get started on some track weathering and ballast in this scene, and definitely get rid of the pink foam if we can do that. Have an idea for the backdrop. Not sure if I'll go ahead and order that or not, but it's going to be fairly simple. This is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so we're just talking about a lot of farm fields in the background, so we'll add that. But I also have some other kits to build, a small house and a co-op office that are located nearby, and then a small county dirt road that will be in the scene as well. So I think I'll go ahead and get started on those kits so we can add those. But that's lots to do for the Charleston elevator scene, and if that one wins, then you've got an idea what I'll be working on there. Let's look at the other options. All right, for fascia, valance structure, lighting, that doesn't really make sense. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's basically fascia and valance work. So all my lighting is up in the room, you can see, and I designed the lighting with the layout in mind. I put the lights up first, then built the layout. This one is a little bit off center, so I might have to move that to a little more central, but for the most part, all these lights are sitting right above the layout, and I'm pretty happy with the room layout lighting. I think it's fairly good coverage. There's not a lot of shadows anywhere, not a lot of dark spaces, so happy with that. But I do want to add a valance, and for those of you who may not know, a valance is basically a structure of boards or whatever that block that lighting from view, so it's not so harsh to the viewer, but also focuses the light more down on the layout below. And I have some ideas for what I'd like to do to work on that. The voting option also calls for fascia, and as you can see, I have a lot to install. There's just a single piece here. I've got some on this helix. So that's what I'd be working on if that one won, is working out a valance plan. I'm very excited to try that. I've never gotten to that level on a layout before, just to block some of these lights from view and focus that light down on the layout, and then get some fascia installed as well. Hopefully the weather participates, which it is supposed to be warmer next week, so if that one wins, it shouldn't be too bad to work out in the garage, but that's what we'd work on for those two, or that option. Option number 3 now, we have the El Dorado oil field, so let's move over there and talk about that one. So here we have the El Dorado oil field, and this is basically just a collection of oil pump jacks. As you can see, 3 here. There's going to be a 4th. This one is one of those Walthers kits that can be motorized. I chose not to do that option for this one. I just wanted to experience building the kit and see how difficult it was going to be. So I'm going to build a 4th that will be motorized. I think I can go back and motorize that one. I'm not sure, but if not, I'll replace it with another one because I do want to have 2 motorized pump jack kits working. And then here you have a tank battery, which collects the oil from the pump jacks, and then that oil is picked up by truck. So we're going to have our dirt road here. It's kind of an access road to the battery for loading. An actual dirt road based on a place, or on a real road called Shumway, that will cross the tracks here. As you can see here, I've also got some lines drawn here for some low berms. Over the years, dust buildup or whatever, some berms have been generated, probably where trees have been planted along the railroad. So there's just kind of some low berms that hide the tracks. So we're going to do something about installing those, and just generally start working on this scene. I really haven't done anything with it since I built these kits. And these 2 small kits back here are print jobs. So lots of interesting to do to develop this scene, and looking forward to that if that wins. And then finally we have backdrops. Obviously I have some backdrops installed. You can see those 2 there. I've got this big one here, a small one down there, but I still have many to do. If that one wins, I probably won't do them all. It's be a pretty big expense, especially for down this hallway here. There's going to be a couple of really big ones that go all the way down and back there. But there are some smaller ones I can focus on that I already know what I want to do. Like on this wall for the Union Tank Cart Company, it's basically going to be a hedgerow, just a tree row in the background, because this business in reality is surrounded by trees. In fact, you can't really even get ground level pictures of it because there's no access to that site, no public access anyway. So I might go ahead and get that one ordered. And then down here in the Canon City, Portland cement area, this one isn't too long, and I have a general idea what I want to do there. And it would stretch from the mountain there, the rock face, all the way down here behind Portland Cement, and then to these portals. So there are some options there, and I think I have some funds available that I could go ahead and get those ordered. So if backdrops wins, probably focus on those two. So anyway, that's the voting options. Again, you can go to my homepage to select which one of those you'd like to see me work on for the next 2 weeks. I will share that result on Monday, and we will get to work. So I thank everybody for your participation, your interest and comments, and hopefully some votes. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday.